So as a technologist, you sit down at your workstation, you prepare to do your workday by going to the TechSite portal. Okay, so overnight the slides have been scanned and been uploaded to the TechSite cloud and been processed. So now we log into the account, and so it's basically app.techsite.com. Okay, and that takes us to the entry point. We enter our credentials, and those credentials determine which company you're going to see. So for my credentials I'm using here, it's going to take me into the TechSite demo company. And so you can see in the upper right, it's there. And then what's presented here is all of the slides that are in the inbox that are available for review. Okay, so myself personally, I only do trichromes, and so I'm going to click on the trichrome button, see how many are there. So there's basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 slides. Okay, and so what I can do is if I click on the first one, and if I hold the shift key and I click on the last one, I can select all the keys, and then I can click on assign and just say assign to me. Okay, and so now you can see all of the slides are assigned to me. That's one of the things about the filter system is it gives you the ability to quickly group slides for workflows and things like that. Okay, by the same token, if I get done with the day and I don't want these assigned to me, then all I have to do is go in and say unassign, and they're no longer assigned to me. Okay, so they're available for somebody else to review. Okay, so again, I'm just going to go ahead, select all of them, assign them to myself, and now I'm going to click on a slide and enter the review process itself. So if I click this view is called the images view. Okay, and Cyclo is not a trichrome classification that's honored. Okay, it's more of an information only type of thing. But so for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and say, that this is. So I do see Cyclos on this slide. Okay, and what we do is we have a limit of 50 images that can be seen, but if I wanted to see all 276 of these images, I would just say show all, and they're all going to be here, and I can go through every one of them. Okay, I also have the ability, if I want to, and I want to see exemplars of it, I would just click on the classification group and hit the E key, and it gives me exemplars that were used in the training data. I have the ability to put notes in here, but what let's do is I've assigned open next case on save. So I say save, and now we're on to the second slide. With Blastos, we have the ability to set the prevalence. Okay, so what we would do is we go down to this at the bottom of the prevalence regions, and we just want to make sure that there's classifications that can be seen. There's no great big white areas. There's no huge air bubbles, that type of thing. Okay, so we looked, and based on our experience, we're going to call this a +3 on the prevalence. Okay, what you normally do as a technologist, you're going to quickly look at all of these classifications. You can jump to any classification by clicking on it. So click on Jardy Assist. If I click on Indolamax, I go to Indolamax, and again, if I wanted to see all the others, I would click this. Okay, I have the ability to go into the zoomer. Let's go to a better one. Let's go up here to this particular one. If I could click on the zoomer, okay, it takes me to where that classifier, with that classification, with that organism sits. And down here in the slide overview picture, we can see it's about dead center in the middle of it. Okay, we can zoom in to get a better idea of what it looks like, or we can zoom out to see. Okay, so then we're in this menu bar at the top, we have the ability to select different magnifications level when we're looking. So rather than use our mouse wheel and just go, we can say I want to see it at 100x, 80x, 40x, 5x. Okay, and then the other thing that's nice is I can look at this, and if I want, where it says it's 7.3 by 7.0 microns, what I can do is if I just want to measure the actual size of the organism, what I can do is I can click the ruler in the toolbar and go down and measure side to side and get the actual measurement. So 6.3, and then, you know, we call this one 6.0. Okay, and so those are the actual measurements of it. Turn the ruler off. And then we're done with that. We're going to go back and we're going to go ahead and say save. And now we're going to go to the next slide. And then on this slide, what I want to do is, again, I see, you know, these are definitely blastos. So I'm going to say that I see blastos, they're present. And if I go back down to the prevalence regions, I can see that it's a good slide. There's no big blank areas. I can see the slides are pretty, you know, thick with the blastos, and so I'm going to say it's a 2. Okay. Giardia, I can look at the cysts. I can see those are cysts. I can see trophs, those are trophs, and so then I'm just going to go ahead and say those are present. And again, if I want to see the exemplars, I just push the E and it'll show me what they look like for that class. So like on DFRAG, I see the DFRAG exemplars. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and look and change the image size. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on this zoomer view. Okay, and what I can do is if I go in here, first of all, I have the ability, oh, this, you know, and I look at this and I go, that's not a Giardia troph. So what I can do is I can, as long as my cursor's in the box, I can hit the C, and it gives me the ability to change that classification for that box in the system. Okay. The other thing is if I want to, I can change the size of the box, or I can zoom in or zoom out. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to save this slide. Okay, and then the rare Giardias, you know, so obviously this, with the tail, you can tell that this is a Giardia, and so I'm going to say those are there. You know, I'm going to look at the DFRAG and Dolomax. None of those jump out as, you know, samples, and so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say save, and it takes to the next slide in my inbox, and then this one. That's not a blasto, that's not a Giardia, Entamoeba is not there, and so this slide is actually doesn't have anything. So I'm not going to enter anything, and I'm going to say save. Okay, so now what happens if it takes me automatically back to my inbox, which is now I've exhausted all the slides, and it says these have all been reviewed by Ken Dixon. They say, you know, the slides that were reviewed positive have a reviewed positive tag, and that last slide that was negative says reviewed negative. And so at this point, that's the basic how we use this. Okay, and we'll go into more depth on all of these things in training, but this is just a quick overview of what the system looks like.